Oh, yes.
No, I believe Dan's
He's not
not here. I believe Dan's
Is
coming.
that what it's gonna be?
Dan's not here.
No. He is not.
It's just
That's to do.
us.
Gotta remember to do bills. Don't forget that secret resolution, because I will. We all stand, join me in pledge of allegiance, please. Everybody's here, so we'll be here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for being here tonight for the regular meeting for Monday, the 10th of February. I call the meeting to order. I ask that we approve the minutes of the prior meeting for January 13th.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're open for public comment. Anything to say, sir?
Just one quick report. We've got the final figures for 2013 sales tax, and I think Shazy's been made whole, and there was a little extra compared to what was, as long as you use what was budgeted for, so, which is a good thing. We hope it continues, but, we will keep you posted. But, sales tax is a little bit slower the first part of this year. Last year, it kind of filtered in a big wave and then petered out at the end. But, the numbers are up, and hopefully those things continue to grow. But I told you before the meeting started, if you have any questions of me, fire away at any time. I'll do what I can. You may not like the answer you get, but I will get you an answer.
That's all right.
Okay?
No is an answer.
Well, and congratulations to all your new board members.
Oh, thank you.
Hey. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fowler.
No report unless you want to mention this secret resolution.
I think now would be as good as time as any, yes, sir. Let me hand this out to you.
I think at the last meeting, the supervisor handed out what's been worked on for about 4 or 5 years, which is a proposed comprehensive land use plan. The town last adopted a comprehensive land use plan, I believe in 1991, is what Mr. Dajna reported to me. And it's good practice every 10 to 15 years to update it and adjust this comprehensive land use plan to sort of adjust what's going on in the town and tailor it that way, so you have a plan as you go forward. And it's not controlling in terms of zoning laws that you adopt, but again, it is a plan that you look to so that when you are considering changes in your zoning or other local laws regarding development, that you sort of are governed by this guide, comprehensive land use plan. It's been approved, I understand, by the planning board, and now it's up to the town board to consider it and approve it if you so desire after reviewing it as a board. There is a couple of steps that you need to take. You've got the comprehensive land use plan, and there's not a big rush on it because it's been out there for a long time. But if the board feels it wants to move forward with it, its next action would be to set a public hearing. And then after the public hearing, after you receive the comments and whatnot, if the plan is acceptable the way it is, you can turn around and adopt it. The other thing that needs to happen while you're considering the plan is you have to do an environmental review. And that's what this resolution is about. Under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, you're required, when you're considering certain types of actions that may have an effect on the environment, you have to do this independent environmental review. And basically what you're going to be looking at is environmental form that will be completed, part by the supervisor, part by probably Tom Dashon on the planning board, but that basically it goes through, checks off various things in terms of how this may impact the environment. And once you review that, before you can actually adopt this comprehensive land use plan, you need to make a negative declaration that we don't believe that this comprehensive land use plan will have a negative effect or impact on the environment, all right? So what you'd be doing now is just adopting a seeker resolution, the initial resolution saying we're considering this comprehensive land use plan, and as part of that, we want to conduct environmental review. And we're going to declare ourselves to be lead agency for purposes of doing that review. All this does is allows you to start distributing this to the county, to adjoining towns, other involved agencies, so they can comment on whether or not they want to challenge you being the involved agency, town board. Generally, no one's ever going to challenge it.
Right, especially for that.
But this would at least be that step. Then, so you adopt this, you wait 30 days, see if that's challenged, and then anytime after that, you could adopt that negative deck resolution I was talking about. That has to be adopted before you'd actually adopt the comprehensive land use plan.
So this starts the process forward, a process we want to go forward.
For at
And-
least the environmental.
Right.
And it doesn't commit you to doing
Exactly.
anything as far as eventually adopting this comprehensive land use plan, all right? The only thing about the comprehensive land use plan, I think if you look at it, it's under town law, section 272, but it talks about, you know, it's good to have this in place, you have it now. The one thing you need to be, particularly with the town of Shazy, under ag and markets law, you have ag districts. And since it's an agricultural community too, you should be careful not to be doing anything in here that would unduly interfere with agricultural uses that are existing within the town, all right? Other than that, and you want to promote agriculture. And I think that's in there. You mentioned
It is, yes, it
when we
is.
had one of those
Absolutely.
discussions. So, but anyway, this resolution is very preliminary, doesn't commit you to anything other than for purposes of considering the environmental impacts of this, you are going to be the lead agency. All right, that was kind of long-winded, but any questions?
Any other questions? Phil, should we move ahead on the resolutions now, or you want to do them all at once?
I'd like to do it all at once, if it's okay with you, and we'll just have this on at the
Sure.
very end.
No, that works.
You okay with that?
Is that okay with everybody? All right, that's what we'll do then. Mr. Lamica?
Well, pretty much same as usual, this time of year. Plow the roads, sand the roads. Get everything ready for
Yes,
spring,
right on.
all our equipment,
Right.
you know, keep tinkering everything up, so spring we're ready to go. We ain't go pick up all the sand we worked, put down all winter. So,
It's like that movie Groundhog Day?
yeah,
Start off saying it
yeah,
over.
it never ends, vicious cycle. Other than that, everything's going good, everything's great at the garage, so.
Hear that.
About it.
Okay. Counselor discussions. I think you have.
I really have nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
What do you want? Mike?
Okay.
Okay.
That leaves me?
Yes, it does.
I do have something.
No,
I have a
so
couple
now
somethings, as a
let's-
matter of fact. Sidewalks. I received a call regarding sidewalks in the town and the fact that they're not being shoveled. I believe Tim got a call from the same person as well, so I've only had one inquiry or concern. And what's happened is just like everywhere else. We've had the snowstorm, we've had the ice storm, and it's difficult to get out there and shovel the sidewalks for people. And this person that called thought that perhaps a good way to solve this problem for people that aren't getting their sidewalks done is for the town to take that responsibility over. And I told them that I would bring that up to the board. However, I also told them that I didn't believe that that was a good way to go for a number of reasons. I felt that the homeowner should be responsible for clearing the sidewalks, much as they are in many other municipalities. Also, and I will listen to Tim on this, but it would require us to buy a piece of equipment that's fairly expensive, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000, whatever it is. Of course, you can't just think about the sidewalks on Route 9, you have to worry about the other areas as well. You have to transport that equipment over there, and then you have the cost of a person that's doing it. Even if it's not an extra person, it's somebody that's here now that has plenty to do as it is.
I'd be your man, cause I don't have any.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, exactly. So,
I'm already down 3 now.
I didn't think that was the best way to handle that. I did say that I would bring it up to the counselors for their input, that I think maybe a way to handle this is for us to encourage people to go out and shovel the sidewalks, because it creates a problem for the students that are walking to school, especially in school areas, for other people that use the sidewalks, they have to walk out in the road. So I want to encourage the homeowners to be responsible for clearing those sidewalks in a timely manner. We could do that, you know, I don't want to say winter's about over, because we still got a ways to go, but it's coming to the end of it, sooner or later. So I think over the course of the next few months, we can put this at the front of people's minds. We can put something on our website, which is something else I'm going to talk about later, and perhaps we can improve the cooperation. Now, another thing we could talk about, and I would count on Bill for input on this, is we don't really have a local law that addresses that. As I understand it, we have a state law that covers homeowners clearing sidewalks, and that's been enough, and I'm fine with that. But you could consider putting in a local law or ordinance, but that would cost some money to do that. And I would rather start out with asking for cooperation and trying to obtain a cooperation instead of going through the, well, we've got a law now and you have to do this, you have to do that. So I think it's something for us to consider. I'm not looking for anything to be done tonight, but I'd like you to think about it and ways that we can look into this and see where it needs to be done. I know the west side of Route 9 is bad, but I recognize some of the reason for that too, with the ice and all of that. So that's kind of an issue that's out there that hopefully we can wrestle with and come to some kind of conclusion
Just
that
so
will
you
help
know,
everybody.
we did look at that maybe around 5 years ago, I think. We looked at possibly making a sidewalk district, and the people who were in the area where the sidewalks would be cleared would be responsible for payment, because it want to be fair for all the taxpayers to have to pay for that. And we deemed it as really being just way too much money.
Yeah,
You know, just with
Yeah.
the cost of the equipment, and then another man, another employee to take care of it. And then we even questioned what our liability would be in the event that someone couldn't get out there and clear the sidewalk in a timely manner, and students
If we
walking
were
to
doing it
school or whatever,
regularly.
if we were doing it, you know, and then where's our responsibility if there was someone who was injured or what have you? And just when we looked at all the costs of it, we thought it's just cost inhibitive, there's no way we
To
can
do that.
To do that.
so then probably based on your experience, the best way to handle this is through going out and
the-
reminding people and trying to
Yes,
get,
and through the homeowner clearing
Right.
their sidewalk in front of their home, as they've been pretty much doing, they've been pretty good about it. so.
is there any role that the code enforcement officer can play in this?
Not if you don't have something in the books, I think that would,
Okay.
you know, that you would be going a local law, that you would go out and be enforcing.
Right.
I mean, we're not asking anything more than any other town.
Oh, no,
I mean, the
no.
city of Plattsburgh, other towns, it's up to the homeowner. We're basically following suit of what every other town does, we're not doing anything
Right.
different.
Right. Well, I'm not opposed to, you know, I'll send out a letter, but you'd have to go to, well, I don't know if I have to go to everybody in town, I'd have to certainly go to
No,
those
just
that have the
basically people where the
sidewalks.
sidewalks are.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, there's Scioto and West Shazy too, I mean, it's not just Shazy, it's
Right,
not just
exactly.
Darien, it's all,
Exactly.
that would have to be. Yeah.
I went and cleaned them all last time, and they didn't keep it cleaned,
Mhm.
Right.
because it was state of emergency, I could go out and clean all the ice off and sit there, and I done, now they can keep them up, and they never did.
And then we even questioned, where do we start? Do we do Shazy and then go up to West Shazy? Who do we do first? No matter what we do, somebody's going to be complaining.
Right.
Somebody has to be last. So, you know, I mean, it could be noontime before you get up to one or the other,
Everybody.
you know?
Right.
So
Right.
we just thought it would be too many headaches that we wanted to take on at that time.
Did you, this year, part of the problem is that, you know, the ice events have just been such a pain,
Mhm.
Right.
you know,
It
not
has
just,
been.
you know, but just shoveling snow is one thing, but because
Mhm.
that's why you had to go out, right? Because it was just nasty.
But Tim has made it known that anybody can go up and get the sand with the salt in it, and it's free to them, I mean, they can just go and get whatever they need. We do offer that.
Did you, in the past, did you come up with any efficient way to contact the people who are involved with sidewalks that
No, we never really,
we don't
I
have?
think we
any?
might have put it in the newspaper, is that what we did, Sue? Maybe put it in the
I'm
newspaper,
thinking we did.
with a newsletter?
Right.
The
Maybe in our newsletter.
Because we did put some. in
Yes, I
print.
remember trying, that we did something to,
Right. Well, I think everybody wants to be responsible. I
Oh,
think
I agree.
sometimes there's
I agree.
reasons why elderly, or you say, where you gone? You gone
Yeah.
for a month or someplace. Of course, I think you should make some kind of method that it's cleared while you're gone. Maybe that'd be a boon to the younger people of the community. It makes some money clearing sidewalks for people that are in
Or
Florida.
to one of the clubs at school.
Yeah, yeah.
Eco or something to provide a service, who knows?
Kathy, would you,
Uh-oh.
and you have some experience with this. Would, and I don't mean on your own, but would you be willing to look into this, the issue? And we can work on it together. I'm not opposed to, I mean, I'll send the letters out if that's what we gotta do, but come up with a plan where we can encourage cooperation to get this done for the good of the community. We can contact people, we find areas that maybe there's a group that owns, that we would go to that organization and say,
Sure.
all right, thank you.
Be happy to.
We had, I'm glad you're here, because I have a question for you. We had appointed Trey Green as part of the planning board, for the planning board. But because of various circumstances, Trey did not get here to take his oath within the time frame that's required. I think that's 30 days. So that time frame passed. So I called up Trey, and he is interested, he wants to do it. He didn't do it because it was just one of those things. So anyhow, I don't believe that he can just show up now and take the oath. I think what we have to do is reappoint him to that position again, and then have him come in for, within that 30-day time frame to take the oath, I think.
Yes, if you don't take the oath within 30 days,
The office is vacant.
considered vacant, right? And then the board would be able to appoint someone else.
Including
Or
him.
reappoint him, sure.
Yes, or reappoint.
I think it would be.
Well, he wouldn't be reappointed, would he? Well, no, he's already, yeah, that's fine.
Just
So,
appoint him again.
and you're reappointed? Okay, we'll appoint him again. So I would ask that we,
Resolution.
yes, do a resolution and appoint Mr. Green to the board, and then he can get in with the 30 days and
Okay.
take that over, okay? All right, we will do that. Now, we went out a couple of months ago and asked for bids on a 3/4 ton pickup truck to replace the pickup truck that was involved in an accident and was totaled by the insurance company. So we needed, they felt that we needed to replace that vehicle. So they went out to bid. Just a little while ago, the bids came in sealed, and Mr. Baharwar and I sat down and we opened up the bids. So it was really the first that we had seen everything there was to see on this. And it was certainly my opinion, I don't want to speak for Mr. Baharwar, but it was certainly my opinion, I believe it was both of our opinions, that the specifications when they went out for that truck were vague, were open to interpretation, and I think the bids we got back on that showed where that interpretation and vagueness created an issue, in the sense that it wasn't fair to the process, it wasn't fair to the bidders, and the taxpayers, the residents of the town of Chazy, if we go forward with this, are actually going to get a vehicle that isn't going to do the job, isn't exactly what we want. So, based on what came in on the bids and what we need, it's my suggestion to the board that we have a resolution and we reject those bids. And then we would have, if you do that, if you agree with that, then we would have two options available to us. One would be to rebid, vote for rebid. And the second would be, we could go by the state contract. Now, the reason they didn't go by the state contract earlier is that option wasn't available at the time. The state contract had been closed out, I believe the word is, for that. And so that was not an option. So if they wanted anything, they had to go to bid. Now, however, the state contract over time has now opened. So we have two things we could do here. We could go out and rebid to whoever, or we could go out to the state contract. We've looked at the state contract, we've made inquiries. That seems like a logical way to do it, but we have the bid process as well. That's why I bring it up to you to see what you want to do. So the first thing I would suggest, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have on it, is that we reject the contracts based on the vagueness of the issue and being unfair to the bidders and taxpayers and the people that do the job. So I would ask to reject those bids. We have a resolution to do that.
Bill, can we do both? Can we check the state contract and see what we can get and go out to bid also?
You can go out to bid, and you could still buy out state contract, except you can't go and say, I'm gonna now buy out state contract if the price is higher than some of the bids that came in.
Okay.
But if the bid, or
But
the
if the
state
state
contract
contract
price
is
is less
lower-
than the bids that came in,
Okay.
you could still buy out state contract, yes. You might wanna tell them the example, I think it's the SC issue.
Yes.
I mean, it just puts.
Part of the confusion, yes, thank you, Bill, I forgot that part. Part of the confusion was in the specs that went out. And when I talk about the vagueness of the specification, it's like, whether you want a V8 engine or a blue one, blue car, whatever, the specs that go out there. Part of the specification we had went out is, that I saw, there was an abbreviation that says SC. Now, apparently, some that were bidding thought SC meant super cab, so therefore your price is here. Another that thought SC meant single cab. So instead of getting that cab and a half, they're bid, like the single cab. So their bid would be several $1,000s, $2,000 or $3,000 lower because they're looking at just a single cab, with the other one's looking at a cab and a half or a super cab. So looking at that, I for one felt that that's not fair to either party, because if the first group thought that they were bidding on a single cab, that would give them the opportunity to perhaps put in a lower bid. On the other hand, the person that thought it was a single cab, when in fact it's not, that they could have put their bid somewhere as well. So I don't think it's fair to the people that bid. And then if we accept the low bid, the single cab, then that's not the vehicle that's needed to do the job. So we felt that it would be fairer, and due to the vagueness of it, that we would reject all the bids and then see where we wanted to go after that.
I think that's the best way to go.
Okay,
Reject them.
all right.
The vehicle out to state contract, if we do both, will it be to the same specs? How will that play out
Well,
with the state
what-
contract vehicle?
What we have done in anticipation, trying to anticipate where we would go, so that we would have the most information for you to make a decision on that we could. First thing we did and wanted to do was to go out and nail the specifications down. What is it exactly what we want? So everybody's bidding on the same thing, and everybody has an equal opportunity if it goes to bid. So we went out and we nailed the specs down better. We've checked on the state contract, what the cost for that vehicle would be. And now we have what we consider is the vehicle that we need and an idea of the price. So,
So when you looked at that versus one of the bids that had it correct, are those numbers
yes,
comparable?
Yes.
it was, I can't remember the exact there was a difference of,
Not very much, it was some,
yeah,
in
$500.
$500.
Lower.
yeah,
State contract was a few bucks lower.
lower, yeah.
Mhm.
And if either one is gonna take time, in the sense that no matter what your decision is here tonight, if you go with a regular bid, by the time you get them out there, they price them out, they get back to you, you're looking at maybe June,
Mhm.
July, June, right in there. Through the state contract, it's a little faster, but you're still gonna be looking at like May. So nothing's going to be here really in time to do anything for us this winter.
It should be over by then. It should be over by then, right?
I'm sorry?
It should be over by then.
Geez, you- I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Now, when we do get it off the state contract, we don't actually know who will be supplying that vehicle.
I think we do know.
Yes, we
do.
Yeah, we do know,
Out
right?
of Rochester, New York.
Same
So
one
it's
with-
not local,
No,
No,
It's where I got my truck.
it's not local. so-
right. You got the bid for the entire state, right?
Okay.
for this type, for this, what's called light duty truck.
So I'll just throw this out there for $500. We might want to consider keeping it local.
Well, we would have to, we would open this.
I mean, it'd be
there's no
something to
option.
think about. I mean,
Right. We'd have to, we would do the specs, that's the word I'm looking for, more accurately.
mhm.
So they could do that, and then you can put the bids out there, and you can do it that way.
Would that be a problem, Bill?
No, I don't see any problem. I'm trying to recall if did you adopt the best value local law? We talked about it, I've done it with some
I
towns.
don't know if they adopted it, I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember anything like that, no.
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 Well, I bet Bill knows, but best value is when you consider gas mileage, how long it takes you to get here,
Consider
repairs.
everything,
Do you
not
have
just the
anybody that can
price, but
repair it?
everything.
Right.
I don't remember passing anything like that.
I don't know.
No getting it here, they gotta deliver it free of charge to you. They had to bring mine.
To here, yes.
Right to the garage free.
Right,
Oh, free of charge off the state
No.
contract?
no delivery costs.
From Rochester, they delivered it right to the garage.
But Mark's right, that's what, because otherwise, when you go out to bid, you have to take the lowest responsible bid. And then even if it's $10, you gotta take the lowest bid. The only discretion you have is if two bids are completely equal in amount. Or one of the bids is non-compliant, with the bid specifications. If it doesn't, obviously, if it comes in and varies from the bid specifications, then you could reject it as being non-compliant. But that's not, that's what you're doing here, you're just rejecting all bids,
Mhm.
because there's a bit of an ambiguity, I guess, in that bid specification.
I like the idea of keeping it local. I mean, do we have a hard number as to what the difference would be, or?
Is it, as opposed to the state contract and the lowest? Do I?
Well, you wouldn't, because they're not,
They're not,
they can come back in and bid again,
Yeah, they can come back in.
so you don't know what that number is. Yeah.
Right now, we won't know.
Oh, with the options on it. Yeah, we would. $1,500? Oh, with those on there it was.
$500 more than the lowest bid.
Right, right. I thought I had.
So I guess if we put it out to the local dealers and the state contract, if the local dealer comes in at the correct number, then they get it, and they're able to do that.
I would like to keep it local if we can. If we, if the numbers can come in where, we can go to the taxpayers and say, hey, look, it didn't cost any more, and we were still able to get it locally.
But if we allow the state contract to put in a number and it's lower, we have to go that way.
And here is.
Yes, I think, well, yeah,
My-
usually you don't do it this way, you're doing one or the other, you're.
Right,
this is
right.
the lower.
Am I correct or not?
But it's still.
I usually purchase state contracts all the time. If we go out to bid, and even if they're $5 over the state contract price,
Mhm.
are we not obliged to follow state contract purchasing by going to the state contract?
Well, you've got, yes, if you're,
Right.
you really aren't supposed to go to state contract. I mean, what Mark is suggesting here is we're rejecting all the bids because we have a problem.
Start over.
And now the question is do we start over?
So with these.
And you can start over,
Base price.
but you're not really going to get state contract quotes. You're just gonna.
You're gonna, right, but we, now that there is in fact a state contract,
Right.
if those state contract figures are lower than any or and all bids, what are we required to
Yeah.
do?
I don't think you're, if you go out to bid, you can go with the lowest bidder on that. I don't believe you have to.
You don't have to go to state
I don't think
contract.
so. I'd have to be sure of that by checking.
This is the state contract.
You don't know. I
State
don't.
contracts, yeah, they're always, well, I'll get you an answer before you go back to bid if that's what you're gonna do.
So this is.
I don't think so. The only thing I know is if you do go out to bid and the state contract price is higher, you can't then buy off state contract. I just don't know if you can then, well, you probably could. I mean, go out to bid and they come in and they're just higher and you say, geez, we can still get the vehicle off state contract. Let's go do that. I think you
If
can.
we go back, we at least.
That I know.
Couldn't hurt to beat state contract too, though.
Right.
Sometimes it is.
I know that we need to, I think we've agreed to at least reject these bids. Right?
Yes.
So we can do that, we'll have the resolution and we'll do that. I don't want to rush anybody along and make sure that, you know, we do due diligence and we're deliberative and fair to everyone. So, as, I think it might be, and I'd even be willing to have a special meeting in a couple of weeks or something like that, so we don't have to wait too long, but we'll see. If we can get the resolution tonight to reject the bids, and then we can look into this a little more if you want, and answer some questions that you may have, and then we can come back and make a decision as to what we're going to do. Do you feel more comfortable with that, or?
I do.
Okay.
And then hopefully, Dan and Jerry will be here and we can get their.
Well, that's a good point
also,
too, yes.
And, see how they feel and then move
Okay.
forward.
Bill, you good with that?
Yes.
Everybody? All right, so we'll just need a resolution to reject it, and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay?
I know it's gonna take a little longer, but,
Well, with results.
okay. Losing my stuff here. That, that. Moving right along.
Hold on. These two
Well,
pages.
these shouldn't take quite as
Take
long.
out three.
We, as I'm sure you know, we share a dog control officer with the town of Morris, Kaylee LeBombard, who, as far as I can see, I don't know her, but I've looked at her reports, and she seems to be doing a terrific job. I was really impressed by her reports and what she's doing. So, that contract is up for renewal for Morris to share the dog officer. I have a copy of the contract, and it's for a year. It's for $8,800 per year, which we pay quarterly at $2,200 a quarter. So that is something I would like to get permission to sign that contract that I have.
It's not 2,200 quarterly, is it? Or is it 8,800 our share? Or is it 8,800 a year?
No, I believe
Total.
it's 88.
That's our share.
That's our share?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Here it is right here. I actually have two copies.
Just to go
One
back
for
to
you.
your book.
I need that one. These are the ones I have to sign, so don't lose those.
Wow. Okay. And Morris puts in the same amount, correct?
I'm sorry?
Morris puts in the same amount.
I don't know what Morse does. I can find out.
Okay, well, I would hope that, it's quite a bit of money, isn't it?
Well, I thought the same
It's
thing,
over $17,000
I
a
did.
year.
but I looked at her reports.
No, I know she does a great job,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just saying,
I
she
didn't
seems
know
to
if
have
you
quite a
were-
bit of,
I didn't realize it was that
activity.
expensive. It's always been that expensive, so, no, okay,
yeah.
I guess I'm just not, okay.
Do you want me to find out for you what Morse?
No, No.
Are
No,
you
since
happy
this
to-
has always been that way.
Okay, then I will need, we have a resolution for this?
We'll need a resolution for her, you authorize you to sign the contract for the dog control officer with Morris for $8,800 a year.
All right. I'd just like to bring to your attention that we received the report from the town historian, for Mr.
Yes,
Cheeseman.
very nice.
Isn't that?
Very, very
He does a really
nice.
nice job, we're lucky to have him.
He does a great job.
So I just wanted to let you know that the report's out there, he did a really nice job on it, and
Mhm. And
we'll
he
get
certainly
those from time to
represents our
time.
town very well.
He does, he's always out there.
Whatever function is going on, he's there.
He doesn't take enough pictures of me though, but still. One other thing. Land use, we got that already. I received a report today from a person, the railroad crossing up on Washington Avenue,
Mhm.
out on the kind of the far end of Washington Avenue. They reported that it's really rough, even when you go over it slow. So I went out there today actually and drove over it really slow. And they're right, it's in pretty bad shape. Yeah, it's in pretty bad shape. There is a sign there that says something to the effect that it's a dangerous I mean, not dangerous in the sense of the train, but the road itself is very rough. And the town of Shazy is not responsible for any damage that might occur to a car that's crossing there, which is true,
Mhm. Isn't the railroad
it
company
is.
responsible for doing that?
yes.
We can't
So-
touch it.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So I want to bring that to your attention, that we've received a complaint
Okay.
that it does not appear to be a town issue at all.
No.
It's more of a CP rail issue.
Mhm.
And what I intend to do is contact somebody, the CP rail, send them a letter on the official
Mhm.
letterhead,
Mhm.
requesting that they look into it, take care of it, and
Okay.
we'll see what happens from there.
Do you have the number for that? Because,
I do not, but I bet I can get
you
it.
do?
Got it? Okay.
Let's say I can get it.
I've contacted them 2-3 times already on it, and they
Okay.
said they got a crew that's gonna fix it when they get time.
Okay. Well, we'll send them a letter and see if we can move along. Is this the last thing? Nope. The town website. Before I was elected as supervisor, I had gone on the website several times like everybody else. And I was noting that it needs to be updated,
Mhm.
and it needs to be kept up a little quicker. So I'm going to ask Dan Vesco to head up a team or a group of people to see if we can't improve our website in the sense of photos, in the sense of being updated, as far as upgrading it and links to other
Mhm.
things that we need to be bringing into our website, maybe the county government and those kind of things. So I just wanted to let you know that we're going to be working on a website over probably this summer. And Dan, I'm hopeful, will take care of that. We can improve that greatly. If anybody knows, I'm looking for candidates for Board of Assessment. I have just one opening, I think. So I have one opening for the Board of Assessment Review that I would like to appoint somebody to. If anybody is interested, or if you know of anyone, please see me. We have the town justices reports are available for the councilor's review. So before you go home, review these. I believe do we have a resolution on that as well? We have a resolution on that as well for you to review. You can go through these, and then if you'll just initial on the front page, that you reviewed it, we'll be good to go. Everything is, I looked at it, and everything seems to be fine. So if you'd like to, that would be good. And lastly, I think, I have a resolution as well. I have talked to Leo Oliver, and he has agreed to be the budget officer for the town for this year. And that's a very good thing. Leo's got, I don't have to tell anybody here, Leo's got a lot of experience, a lot of budget knowledge, and it's going to be very beneficial for the town to have Leo as budget officer. The other good thing is it's revenue neutral in the sense that that $1,700 is already there, And so that will just go to Leo as opposed to someone else. So it's not gonna cost us any more money. And with Leo helping out, I think that'll be a good thing. So I have a resolution for Leo to be appointed as budget officer.
Has this been shared with Dan and Jerry? Are they aware of it?
Jerry does, I'm not sure about Dan. I think I told Dan.
Okay.
But I did Jerry.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
Do you have
I
time?
think we're up to resolutions.
Yeah. All right, first one isn't written out yet, but it'll be a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign with Moore's to have Keely LeBombard as dog control officer, 1-year term for $8,800.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, yeah.
Okay. And we'll need a resolution, basically appointing Trey Green again. Like
Yes.
they did back, that was done in December, the December 2nd or 9th meeting. He was
Yes.
sent a letter, he didn't come
Here it is
in
right
for
there.
30 days.
The 9th.
Yeah,
Do you need a copy of that?
so we'll do a new resolution identical to that, but just, making the appointment that's active today. So,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. That's information, that's this out of state on sidewalks.
vote on the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Giroux?
Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. So we did the resolution for Mr. Green, and we did the resolution for dog control officer. Now we have the resolution. Bill, could you ask your office to send me that, so I don't have to retype it? They're very nice about doing that for me.
Sure.
Okay. We have the resolution for the comprehensive land use.
Take a motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
We have these two done. Okay, now we're cooking. All right, the next resolution is the appointment of Leo Oliver as the budget officer for 2014.
Make the
Second.
motion.
All in favor?
Did you second?
I'll second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This next resolution has to do with the distribution of overpayment of town taxes. Basically, what happens, we have folks that will round up. Their tax bill is $76.64. They send a check or money order for $77. Or they simply make a mistake, their tax bill is $136.77. They make the check out for $137.77. Basically, what this is allowing me to do is to keep any overpayments up to a maximum of $1, and that would be considered other income. Clinton County Treasurer's Office has something very similar to this, but theirs is $5. Of course, their volume is so much larger. So this is what this resolution that you have in front of you would accomplish.
I question why we wouldn't do it for $5 because, for that small amount, I mean, you're spending how much now just to mail it to them
Yeah,
for
you're
a $1.10 refund and your time? I would be in favor of going to the $5, the same as Clinton County.
Whatever you folks.
It's fine.
Fine with me?
And I'll make the
$5
motion.
is?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Okay.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, the next one is rejection of the pickup truck bid. It's pretty self-explanatory, you'll have a copy of it, it's basically rejecting all bids.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And then we have our payment of claims.
I'll make a motion.
A motion for a paid claim, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Okay. So at this time, then, we're not doing anything with going out the newspaper for rebidding, we're holding,
We're
correct?
holding just for
Gotcha.
a little while. I've got to gather some more information.
Let me make sure I haven't missed anything.
Just slow the process down some, but.
You had a written resolution about approving those.
Annual report.
Right.
Oh,
For the
we-
justices
Well, yeah,
report,
where's
yeah.
my justice one?
I have one right here, if you can copy it.
No, wait a minute, it should be here. You didn't get here. And last but not least, we have the, this is what, the Justice Annual Report, and it does require a resolution acknowledging that it was reviewed by the Shazy Town Board.
I have a resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And that is it.
You're completed. Mr. Dyer, you're completed. Julie? Kathy? Everybody else? Okay, next meeting will be March 10th, 2014, right here, 7 PM. Thank you very much.
Should have a motion.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
In
adjourn.
a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned again.
There you go.